Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. I'm here with Lieutenant. You're still a lieutenant, right?
For now, I guess.
Lieutenant Falon Hurst, who just can't seem to get promoted. No.
As long as I'm not demoted, I'm okay.
As long as you're not demoted. Now, you have to work hard to get promoted, and the citizens and your deputies have been working hard. Let's take a quick look at the count.
Yep, we've got 5 new ones this week, up to 5,130.
That's fantastic. Everybody out there doing their civic duty and calling the sheriff's office to report where they might know people might be so that you can arrest them. Speaking of civic duty, today, even though the show will air after Tuesday, it's Election Day.
It is Election Day.
And we were talking off camera how special that is for deputies.
It's a busy day for sheriff's offices across the state and across the nation, as we're required to protect elections and the integrity of elections and the peace at the elections.
So it's the only law enforcement allowed to be on an election at a polling place is a sheriff's deputy.
Correct.
No other armed law enforcement or military to be there. That protects the integrity of the election. And so make sure you did vote. Hopefully you did vote. And there you go. Stay with us because you get to vote on the next piece of the lineup by calling in your ballot to say where they are. But stay tuned with us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. This half of the lineup brought to you by Speedy Bail Bonds. Speedy Bail Bonds, their phone number 256-235-9090. First up in the first half of our lineup, Christina Gonzalez. Miss Gonzalez, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on receiving stolen property second. And take a look at Ann Benefield. Miss Benefield, last known to be living in Roanoke. She's wanted for failure to appear on theft by fraudulent leasing. And this is Calvin Lawler. Mr. Lawler, last known to be living in Talladega. He's wanted on a motion to revoke bond on sodomy and sex abuse first and a failure to appear by theft of deception first. And meet Cody Fain. Mr. Fain, last known to be living in Piedmont. He's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And this is Kiana Brown. Miss Brown, last known to be living in Tarrant. She's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property third. And take a look at Mary Stevens. Miss Stevens, last known to be living in Oxford. She's wanted on a probation violation for obstruction of justice by using a false ID. And this is Jaron Jackson. Mr. Jackson, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a failure to appear for possession of marijuana first. And meet Jesus Silva. Mr. Silva, last known to be living in Alexandria. He is wanted for probation violation on trafficking cocaine. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup that you might know where they are. And if you do, call Lieutenant Falon Hurst. You call, he hauls. We are here with Roben Duncan, Watershed Coordinator.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about watersheds, but other fun stuff that's coming out. But first, what is a watershed?
A watershed, well, really the earth is a watershed because it's
That's pretty
land.
broad, Falon.
It is.
The earth is a watershed.
It is because water flows
here.
over, through, and under it. Okay. So that's what a watershed is. But it's more collective in one area. And I'm with Choccolocco Creek.
Okay, so the Choccolocco Creek watershed. I lived out in Coldwater. We had Choccolocco Creek out there, right?
Right.
That's where our drinking water comes from.
Yes. And that's why we try our best to keep it clean and to help landowners have better practices with their livestock. So that's one of our things that we do. We're a helper. We're trying to solve problems. We're not there to do anything else but that.
Problem solved. So is that what you do as a watershed coordinator?
Yes, I go out and talk with landowners. I also go to schools and teach about watersheds and environmental and pollution and what all it can cause and our practices and, try to show people good practices of how to take care of the environment.
So, we had Drug Take Back Day come the other day. We always talk about how that gets into the groundwater.
Yes.
Same thing, right?
Same thing. Same thing. Anything you think about it, when it rains, Oil on the water, it gets washed. It gets washed into the watershed. It gets washed into your, into your drinking water. Any type of pollutant whatsoever, whether it comes from a factory or it comes from plastic, because that's one of our issues is with plastic a lot of, the Teflon and anything can get washed down into a ditch and it flows into the watershed or into the lake.
Wow, so be careful what you drop on the ground, right?
That's what we try to teach everyone. Is think about it, because it will end up in your drinking water. And a lot of practices that we show, especially to the schools, is what water would look like, all the pollution that can be in it, and then we ask them, do you want to drink it?
Ooh, that's
So,
like drinking
that's
that
really
brown
coming
water from
home.
Mississippi, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so now the cold water aquifer, which is where most of us get our drinking water here, that's supposed to be really, really pure, clean, and
Yes.
lots of it, right?
Yes,
Is
yes.
it still all of that?
As far as I know, it's still all of that.
They don't even know
Yes.
how big that thing is, do they?
I don't. So,
I don't think anybody does.
I don't
Fallon
think so.
might. Fallon knows
Fallon
lots of
might.
things.
I have read about it. It's interesting.
It
It's
is
huge.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's huge, yeah.
Yes.
So we're here to talk a little bit about the watershed, but you have a big event coming up.
Yes, we do.
Well, tell us about this event.
It's a medieval Canterbury Christmas. It's the first time that anything like this has been in this area, and it is a way to go back and to show environmental practices and to use resources that we have within the land and what people can plant and the herbs and spices and different things that it's used for, whether it be used to cook with or even for herbicides and pesticides. It's really getting back to conservation, and that's a practice of it, as well as it's about Christmas. It's about coming out, and you can see merchants of the era of the medieval times, and you can see non-era merchants. We'll have minstrels, and we'll have plays walking about. We'll have a king and queen, and we have Father Christmas that'll be walking about. And then we have night reenactments, and farm animals will be there. We have 2 different sets that'll be there, llamas and all. So it's going to be fun and I hope interesting, and a way people will come out and start to enjoy the holidays.
Well, Ren fairs are very interesting. I will be there with a couple of friends of mine.
Yes.
We'll be doing some magical stuff that
Yes.
we've done. Been to lots of Ren fairs. They're both educational and entertaining.
Yes.
And, llamas were a big part of medieval England, Fallon.
Okay, I learned something new.
No, they weren't. and of course,
But everybody loves them.
medieval times, those times, we were very conservative with our pollutants. We did not throw buckets full of excrement into the streets. That's a myth, right?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to go
But we're not
along
going to be
with
talking
that.
about that, right?
No.
We're not suggesting that medieval times were the best environment.
No, they were not. But that's, that's our history. That's how we grew to where we are today. So we have to appreciate it and celebrate it just like we do all of our history.
Well, it's an interesting way to kind of dovetail a really good event in with some environmental lessons and
Yes.
watershed.
And
Who came up with this idea?
Actually, it was Jan Morris and her
I should
husband.
have known.
They had came to Jennifer into the watershed and asked if we could do some type of event like this because of archery, and we'll be having an archery park out at the preserve.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and that was one of the first grants that we had received for there. So that's how it all began, and it just developed over the past year into this, and we're very excited because like on Friday night we'll have preview night, and it'll be a chance just to get a little taste of what will be happening out on Saturday. So we'll have Miss Alabama, Madison Neal, Miss Alabama volunteer, Madison Neal. She'll be there performing, as well as Professor Clements will be there and a few other people. And we'll have Father Christmas with us. He's known as the Tattooed Santa, so he'll be with us. But if you've looked on our Facebook page, you see what he looks like. That is truly him. We'll have silent auction, and we just want to thank everyone that has contributed to our silent auction. It is going to be amazing. We have some wonderful things that you can bid on. And then, of course, Coldwater Mountain Brew Pub will be our caterer. And we're looking forward to that. And they are doing things that would be of medieval times. So you'll have a taste of that. And it'll be great. The Oxford Civic Center will be all decorated Christmas and medieval, and so it'll be a fun night, just a 2-hour night. And if you wish to purchase, we still do have a couple tables left and a couple of seats. So if you would like to purchase, of course, you can contact us at Choccolocco Creek Watershed at our Oxford or Anniston office, and you can look on our Facebook page for all the information for that.
So when is this event?
November the 18th is the preview night for Medieval Canterbury Christmas, and then November the 19th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the Medieval Canterbury Christmas.
And where?
It is at the Oxford Civic Center grounds, and that's where you'll come and you can see night reenactment, and you'll see archers, and you'll could be a part of a chess tournament if you'll like, and learn some practices and see a lot of wonderful things, hopefully, that you haven't seen before or that's interesting to you and you would like to become a part of.
Yes, I was part of a living chess tournament in one Ren Fair I was in.
Now that Aladdin Latif is our tournament director, and that's one thing that he hopes that we can do maybe in the upcoming years, because every year we hope to add a little something. We don't want to do it all at one time, make it big. We want to do a little something different every year.
I was a French knight, and
I believe it.
I was opposed to a German bishop who was like 6'6", and it was great fun.
It was like David and Goliath.
It was. It was a great thing. I ran. It was like the Little Rascals. It was fun.
Great.
Okay, so we got this coming up. Tell us again, Saturday.
Saturday, November the 19th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Oxford Civic Center, the grounds. So just come out, enjoy a day, and learn a few things.
And stay with us because we've got a really interesting guest following up on
Yes.
Roben here when we get back from the second half of the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Welcome to the second half of our lineup. This half brought to you by Sonny's Bail Bonds. Oh, Sonny's Bail Bonds. Their phone number 256-913-9759. First up this half, Rebecca Snow. Miss Snow, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for probation violation on promoting prison contraband. Second. And this is Patricia Reeves. Miss Reeves, last known to be living in Rockmart, Georgia. She's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance and having a pistol without a permit. And meet Rodney Wilson. Mr. Wilson, last known to be living in Oxford. He's wanted on a failure to appear for obstruction of justice by using a false ID. And take a look at Tammy Howard. Miss Howard, last known to be living in Jacksonville. She's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Meet Michael Fowler. Mr. Fowler, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these cases, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup that you might know where they are. And if you do, call the Crime Stoppers number or call Falon Hurst, 236-6600. You call, he hauls. And if you're lucky, we'll get you hauled in by this guy. See, Falon's a big history buff, right? And he couldn't resist Ren Fair, so he invented a TARDIS and went back in time and stole this guy from somewhere in Germany.
I have no idea what he even just said.
Yeah,
I don't know.
see, this is Clay, I've forgotten your last name.
Clay Hays.
Clay Hays. Mm-hmm. Clay Hays, we've been talking about the Ren Fair that's coming up November 18th, November 19th? 19th,
yes,
Saturday the 19th, at the Oxford Civic Center. And Clay and some of his compadres are going to be down there with bladed weapons. Does this make you nervous, Falon?
No, I won't be there.
You won't be there?
No.
You're going to have to pull duty down there. There's going to be nasty weapons. Law enforcement is necessary.
Yeah.
No? These don't intimidate you at all?
No.
They should.
I'll stay.
You ever been hit with a sword before? I've been hit with a sword.
No, I've not been hit by a sword.
Not pierced,
no.
but slammed with one.
No.
But yeah, okay, very good. Well, Clay, so tell us what you're going to be doing and what we're looking at here.
Well, I'm with Ordo Har Megiddo. We do Totenkopf German two-handed sword. It was developed by Johann Lichtenauer in the late medieval period, kind of further developed by Hans Tollhofer. He was a fencing master, developed several manuals that we go off of. Our style of fighting kind of developed in what turned out to be the German Landsknechts, the mercenary fighters of the early modern era. Basically what we do is we're classically trained Christian men and women that try to set a good example and serve God and our community the best way we can.
And so you're going to be demonstrating how these weapons are used. You're going to be sparring with each other?
Yes. We'll do some general sparring. We'll show some, they call them plates, or demonstrations of different techniques. So that can be anything from overhanded strikes to throws, thrusting, slashing, anything you could imagine. That's what we do.
When I worked Ren Fairs as a live actor, we weren't students of any particular martial art. We were actors, so we were doing stage play, but we were doing it with fully weighted, realistic weapons, and we would always come short of actually hitting anybody. At least that was the goal, was to just kind of check before we got there. You guys, when you're, now maybe for the demonstration you're going to be doing the same thing, but when you're sparring, this is a martial art.
Yes, sir.
So how does that play out when I guess you have competitions? And
Yeah, we have events, sometimes twice a year, at least once a year in the spring and fall, where we have an actual tournament. So that'll be everything from the two-handed sword, sword and shield, poleaxe, spear, anything you can imagine, really. But we wear protective equipment because it is it's what you would call a Western martial art. You know, most people, when you say martial art, you think of karate or judo, jiu-jitsu, and that would be Eastern martial arts. Western martial arts tends to focus more on melee fighting, boxing and wrestling. I mean, we kind of incorporate it all.
so when you're competing, I mean, obviously back in medieval times, these were weapons of war, and usually the winner walked off the field and the loser didn't. So how do you do that and not get hurt?
We use what's called a waster. So the goal is that the waster will break before your opponent does. So we make our own. It's pretty cheap. It's basically just wooden sticks. So yes, they can hurt and they could kill you if you really wanted to. But the way that they're designed is that if I hit you hard enough, that it's going to break.
Okay.
So we do live steel as well with two-handed swords. Generally, those are the more advanced men, like our grandmaster or myself. I've been doing it 10 years.
All right.
So, yeah, it's basically, we want to be able to fight another day, because if I kill my sparring partner, I have no one to spar with.
That's right. and I don't know, you might go to jail for that. You think? I mean,
You never know.
there's somewhere in there there's a broken law,
we gotta
maybe.
prove intent.
I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Certainly going to get sued.
you certainly will get sued. Yeah. So what are we looking at here? You've got some stuff. Why don't you tell our viewers what this stuff is?
I got a few things here. I got, this is one of the helmets that I fight in. It is a 16 gauge hardened steel. Really need it to protect the important parts right here.
It looks like it hasn't been too badly abused. It's in pretty good shape.
It's less than a year old.
Okay.
This is my personal sword. This is a Sabersmith Damascus hand-and-a-half sword. Of course, you got to have.
It's a hand and a half for you. For me, it's like two hands.
I guess it depends. Of course, you got to have a drinking horn. There is plenty of mead around. So
There is. Is there going to be mead on Saturday?
I don't know. I guess you'll just have to find out.
Is there going to be mead? No, there's not going to be mead? Oh, I have had some really good mead at Ren Fairs. Mm-hmm. You should get into mead.
I'm
You've
definitely
got
not going
bees.
out. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's
Oh,
a
yes,
bigger-
you definitely should be making some mead. It's nothing
got to
illegal
get out of the
about
tiny house.
it. Yes.
Not much room for
All
beer
right,
making.
we have about 30 seconds left. So we've got the big sword here. We got that little thing. Tell us what the little thing is.
It's just a dagger or dirk. Generally, it would be the equivalent to a law enforcement officer or a military personnel sidearm. It's not the primary weapon.
It's a medieval Glock.
And there it is.
Of course.
Very good.
Fun piece of history, the most effective weapon at penetrating armor is a dagger.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we thank you for showing us what you've got here. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday and maybe Friday night at the preview. And again, that's going to be Friday and Saturday, November 18th and 19th. Is that right? Okay, Friday and Saturday, November 18th and 19th at the Oxford Civic Center Park, inside and outside. Be there, be square, and stay with us because we've got the Crime Stoppers portion of the show, and believe it or not, another crazy criminal. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers part of our show, where we ask you to help our investigators on the following cases. First up, between October 16th and November 1st, at Thomas Cemetery on Charlie Penny Road in Piedmont, 2 solar lights and 2 flower pots were stolen off of a grave in that cemetery. And on October 22nd, Hattyway Drive in Alexandria, an orange 2020 Cushman Hauler UTV was stolen. The suspect was seen driving the UTV towards Highway 431 and appearing to travel south on Valley Cub Drive. And on October 19th, a steel blower was taken off a lawn trailer on Laurel Trace in Anniston. 2 males in a white Chevrolet truck were seen removing the blower off the trailer. And between October 17th and October 18th, the residence on Harold Boozer Road in Jacksonville was burglarized. The child's basketball goal was busted, and the inside of the residence had been rummaged through. A silver USSA baseball championship ring and $2,800 in cash were also taken from that residence. And between October 6th and October 7th, a Dell computer, Acer computer, and miscellaneous cooking equipment were all taken from a storage building on Spring Branch Drive in Alexandria. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases. If you have any information on these cases, call Crime Stoppers. That number, 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
So, Falon, as if big guys with swords and chainmail sitting next to you wasn't crazy enough,
Yeah.
you've brought us a real crazy criminal.
Yeah, I have. We occasionally deal with somebody with a sword, not quite that much. This is something else that we very occasionally deal with, very, very occasionally. These are 2, as the sheriff would call them, jacklegs from Oregon, who they're burglarizing a store there in the middle of the night and getting as many cigarettes as they can. And what you can't see outside is the snow-covered ground that they left the tracks right back to their house from.
Oh, so they lived near the store.
They did, and led the police directly to them, where they had all the bags of all of the cigarettes that they're taking there, and all of the clothes and masks that you see.
Well, they call them convenience stores for a reason.
It was very convenient to catch these 2. So,
Why are cigarettes so popular to steal?
I have no idea. So
I guess they're easy to
you can get a lot of them, and they're expensive, I guess.
Buy them. I guess they're expensive. People sneak them into the jail.
Yeah, they try.
Okay. Well, so we've got the Ren Fair coming up. Today was election day. You guys were all out in force, defending our polling places.
Yep, all of them.
You guys, and we got the Crime Stoppers portion. If people have information on the Crime Stoppers portion,
Give us a call.
how do they get a hold of you?
They can call us, 256-236-6600. You can send me an email, fhurst@calcoso.org, or stop by.
Stop by and say hi. Fallon's always there when he's not here.
I live there.
You live there.
I live there, basically.
I used to live there too. So we appreciate you tuning in this week. We hope that you voted on this Tuesday and that you're having a good weekend. Stay tuned to all of the wonderful things that are happening during this fall season all around Calhoun County. We hope you get out there and become part of the community, but not so much a part that we're looking for you in the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We hope you tune in next week, and we'll see you then here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.